Hey all, Toves here, back with another Planet Zoo video. So I'm super excited to be back in my dome today. So carrying on the Tropical Dome, we took a brief hiatus last week to do the recreation of Chester Zoo. Yeah, couple of people to thank for that. Later on in the video, got some good donations. Hopefully we sort of raised awareness a bit. Did as much as I could. So thank you to everybody who supported that video, the likes and the subscribes and all that sort of stuff. And just generally thank you for everybody who's new to the channel, and yeah, lots of awesome support and new subscribers and things. So thank you very much to all of you guys. So if you haven't seen one of these before and you're new, then this is the Tropical Dome. We've been building this for a few episodes now. It's basically a highly detailed kind of biodome inside what is sort of inspired by a dome in the Paris Zoo called the Parc Zoologique. So yeah, there's a few things going on, and what we usually have is this speed build section followed by a real-time tour. And what tends to happen is that I have way too much footage in the to put into the speed build. So there will be lots of stuff in the real-time section. I know specifically in this one today, there's quite a lot more stuff that are not shown in this speed build, so stick around for that. So we have a couple of things going on in this episode. We've got a backstage part, and we've got kind of this filler section. What I'm working on at the moment is actually not going to be finished, but this is part of a later episode. And you can sort of see if you can work out what's going to be in this part of the habitat, but we're working on the same island that the tapirs and the anteaters are on, and I sort of decided I needed to kind of do this part in order to fill in the space where we're eventually going to put the crocodiles. So you'll have seen this episode is mainly about the crocs, but in order to sort of get to that stage I needed to establish this backdrop of this island, and I've got to work out exactly how we're going to get access to this part of the island, but I have some cool ideas on that. So yeah, just kind of adding this sort of rock temple thing kind of gives a bit of a backdrop to the anteater habitat. Building some stairs, and then you can see I've put an electric fence in, so there's a bit of a clue there as to what it might be, because there's an electric fence going in. I think it's probably fairly obvious, because this, you know, if you follow the theme. So yeah, lots of these bits of temple pieces. I haven't really used these temple blocks before. They're obviously really cool, and I have used them. I think I've used them more for kind of just accents and the rubble parts. And I think this probably needs a bit of work. Okay, so now we're actually getting into the crocodile stuff. So if you remember back to when we did the monkeys, I think in episode 1, the monkeys are like behind the scenes, and they come into the habitat, or they come into the actual dome via the tunnels, and that's the only way they come in, overhead tunnels that access over the top of the guests. So what I sort of decided to do was sort of follow that theme through and have the crocodiles come out from almost like an entranceway. So here we are making this entranceway into this backstage area. So behind the scenes is all kind of going to be fairly kind of utilitarian and industrial. Industrial, right word, maybe. And then you have the kind of glamorous front of house bit. So here's the bit of a jump forward there, but this is effectively the crocodile house inside the backstage area. And you'll see a lot more of this. And now I've decided I'm going to use a bridge. So I'm using a bridge to move the guests over. So I think there's probably more of this episode, more of this week's work has been in this behind the scenes area, and that island decoration. So lots to do still, lots of filling out to do. Going back to add some details in here to the actual waterway. So I've used this technique a few times, but you'll see it kind of come together in a second. But these ideas of the sort of protected foliage. So in order to keep the animal away from the foliage in the water, we're creating these kind of what look like netted beds. So you'll see in a second. And the way to do that is use use the glass piece. You have to use the glass piece at first to get a curve, because you can't curve any of the other barriers without you turning it into a glass piece, getting the shape of it in glass, and then switching it into whatever material you want. So you can switch that into brickwork if you wanted to. So here we go, we're putting in, that's what it looks like when it's kind of finished. And then we put these little, sort of what's supposed to look like floats in there. And then the ones that are actually beds, like flower beds, get some soil. And then we're going to add some, some foliage and some reeds and stuff on top of it. So I think this comes out quite well. And the idea was just to kind of, again, just to break up the edges and soften the obviously we've got all this concrete structure. Okay, so this was quite a fun little project. So this I saw on a backstage, real backstage view of a zoo. So what I think it was a penguin enclosure, but what they do cleverly in order to get access to making sure the water is clean enough, they don't have to go in to the enclosure. So in this case, they don't have to go into the habitat. In this case, the crocodiles, in order to check the water levels and make sure that the water is okay. So I'm creating this kind of service duct here. So I've basically cut a little hole in the staff area of the backstage, and I'm creating this idea of it being like a drain here. So this took a little bit of experimentation, which is silly because I have created a drain before and I couldn't remember how I did it, but sort of trying to create the idea of a pipe. And then I think, okay, well, what could I actually use this thing, this drum, African, I think it's one of the drum pieces, African drum, has got this awesome kind of funnel shape. So now it looks like it's actually a pipe. Once you cover up the sides, I think it looks kind of convincing. So yeah, all of this you'll see in way more detail when we get to the live section. Creating a little grill and stuff here. So we are coming up, as usual, we're coming up to the end of the speed build. And I will join you again very momentarily, as if by magic, for the real-time section. Alright, catch you in a sec, guys. Right, people. So as usual, we are starting from outside. Welcome back to the real-time section. Because it's been a couple of weeks, I thought I'd start from out here again today. We do need to go. That music might be a bit loud, guys. Apologies. What are you doing, my friend? Just derping around? So still got loads of work to do out here. This is all kind of... I'm still not entirely sold on this idea. So we might be removing that at some point. We do need to go through the backstage door at some point, but the first thing I need to do is I need to zoom all the way around here, and we need to thank... So we had 2 donations, very generous donations, Half Asleep Chris and Zoe. That was 2 donations on the Chester Zoo Just Giving page that I set up. So we're going to nip in there and we're going to name the tapirs. So that's, oh, we just got joinked up onto the top there a second. Can we jump over? No. This bit up here is always really awkward to pass through for some reason. So let's get down again. Down the stairs. It's only because I'm in Tedgered cab it gets stuck quite often. Right, so let's zoom. Let's try this again. Hopefully. Oh, hello. Excuse me, lady. Coming through. Okay, right. So let's zoom around here. Let's make sure we get this right. Turn back on me HUD a second. So you are the male. So you can be half asleep. Chris, thank you very much. Very generous. I'm sure the animals at Chester Zoo will appreciate it. And Zoe is there. Oh, we've got 2 males. Apologies, Zoe, you're a male. How did we end up with 2 males? And they made a baby. something seems wrong here. Maybe I didn't breed them? I'm sure I did though. Anyway, right, so let's get back on track. So let's zoom back out of the door in here. Oh, we got jinked up here again. Right, 1 second, guys. Okay, so we're back on track. So we're back walking past the Taper education section. So this is the first significant change to this view. So if you look now, we have backdrop to the anteater habitat. So it looks a lot more filled out now. Really happy with the way that's kind of come out. Not too much. It's not gone too crazy. I feel like it's just kind of enough of a background. What we did lose, unfortunately, although I'm not 100% sure I still want to keep this the case, but we lost that view through. We used to be able to see the monkeys running across the ropes, but I think it's all right. I think I'm okay with that. I think you can still see that from up there. So that I'm pretty happy with. What do you think, people? You on your phone, lady? Come on. There's more important things to be looking at. So yeah, let's push on. So past the ants. Zoom past these people. This is just another angle, so we can see now that see the first of these beds appearing. Which just brings it all, I think, just as I said, just softens it out. Softens the edges really up a lot. So I'd say this is probably the first point at which you're viewing. Well, maybe where the manatees are is pretty finished as well. So that's quite a cool little view. You can just see monkeys running across there. So that's the entrance into the Capuchin backstage area. So that's cool. So these came out really well. I did, as I said before, I did sort of take a bit of a liberty and add the lilies in. But yeah, I think that just kind of softens the edge. So this is going to go through an incomplete area still. So this is back past the ant education section. Just speed up a touch. Okay, so this obviously is all not done. And then we should be able to see the crocs very soon. They're tending not to come along here very much. They tend to hang out over here more. So you can see we've now got a path over the top, and they've obviously, I think maybe they've just been fed. So the reason why I've gone with just infants, and I think I mentioned this on the last episode, was that I'm trying to make it feel more like they're caiman, because saltwater crocodiles don't really fit in the jungle. Well, not the jungle, the South American jungles anyway. I do love that. I love that view of being able to see the monkeys playing across there. And they will come out. They don't go all the way through the water. They can get everywhere, but they tend not to kind of go all the way around there. I'm trying to kind of work out a way to incentivize them around there. So they can only be fed inside the habitat here, or inside the backstage area. So lots of plans for this. Obviously this all needs to be worked and kind of locked in and stuff, but there's their gate. So the idea being that, you know, you bring the gate down at night if you want to close them in there. Right, so let's jump out of Tejikam. In fact, no, we don't need to jump out of Tejikam. We'll stay in Tejikam. We'll just speed round. Oh, you should not be out here, monkey. We'll speed round and we'll go back through this backstage section. So we looked at all this before. Yeah, the alarms are going off in here because one of those monkeys is out. We looked at all this before. So what's new is coming through this door. So this is going round to the crocodile section. So we've still got some work to do back here. So we've got this gate. I think I'm going to have this gate permanently open, so I need to work on getting that adjusted to kind of go up. We continued our duct work. So these are supposed to be ducts for all the electrical equipment. So it comes down, that's a fire alarm, but that needs to go back into the wall a touch, but we'll fix that. I might have to fix that later. Yeah, I'll fix that later. And then continuing down, so we've got the large keeper enclosure, or keeper enclosure, keeper room, and then I think that's the large staff room there. These are supposed to be like electrical pipes. Some boxes and things. That's a workshop item. I think that was taken from a different water treatment section. These are quite cool, actually. I've never noticed these before, but these are the backs of the heaters. I'll just spin that round, you'll see. Turn that off. So yeah, that's the back of the heater, which is kind of handy. Got a really cool texture to it. Let's turn off my HUD again. So yeah, just some details and things. The pipes continuing down. We had the pipes in the last room. You actually, when you see backstages of zoos, God, just clean up. Thank you. When you see backstages of zoos, what I've seen is a lot of this stuff. Like a lot of the backstage does look like it's a, yeah, sort of factory, almost factory-like. So there's our first view. So the idea is you come down this corridor and you can, you know, see into this backstage area. I think a few more details. I think I need to add some kind of tops and tails to the, or tops and foots to these walls. That's a really cool trick I hadn't really realised before. But you can actually, you can hide these things in the walls. So if you just want like the panel, that's the, I think that's the transformer box. So that, you know, obviously by itself looks like it's something interesting. Maybe I'll do a bit more around that potentially. So duct work continuing, going on further. I think there'll be a door going through this wall at some point. And what have we got here? So we'll look at this section first. So this is what I was talking about in the speed build. This is supposed to be this sort of service duct. So the idea being that, you know, you don't have to go into the dangerous area with the crocodiles in order to check the water level and check that the water's clean and all that sort of stuff. So we've got this big pipe. We've got water treatment facilities on the top of the building, like up through this roof. So there's a big pipe coming down. It's supposed to be that goes into the ground, and then there's this, yeah, this machine, or this kind of treatment machine here, which again is actually, if you look, is one of the water treatment facilities buried in the ground. What you need to do, I think, in order to make that work okay, is you need to switch it off from being operational, otherwise your mechanic will try and get to it, which can be a bit annoying. I think they can actually get to it. I think they just kind of glitch into the floor to clean it. So pipe coming down off the top of that is all part of that, and then I added this little console into it. So if we look down, there's my, I think that's fairly convincing. It's supposed to be that the water comes out of this, you know, when they want to refill it. So we've then got some cleaning stuff, one of our little kind of shelf sections again with like notes on the animals that are in there. Controls for this door, so this is another one of those roller doors. This is supposed to be like a feeding chute. So if ever you wanted to feed the animals without going in there, you could open this hatch up. This is supposed to be that it's on like a little, like a hinge down there, so it kind of rolls back towards us, and then you just dump meat over the top, slides down the chute, basically. Big access door, obviously, to make sure that we can get the animals in and out. But let's go through the gate. Not loads of detail in here. I think these things should be fairly simple. So cameras up to make sure you can monitor the animals from outside. I think at some point I will probably have a room that's not a security room, but like a monitoring room, where you can sit as a keeper or as a vet, keep an eye on the various different animals in their backstage areas. So they come and they chill in here quite often. Obviously they come back in here to feed. Keeper can get across this little bridge. And then obviously that's quite a nice little little spot for the staff to, when obviously that's the staff recreation room. They can sit in there and they can keep an eye on the crocs and things. Oh, I made this big. Show you that in a bit more detail because that was quite fun. Made this, zoom over. I made this kind of air ducting thing, like a larger aircon unit. Needs a little bit of tidying up. There's a couple of little textures and things popping through. But yeah, I thought that works quite well. So yeah, let's have a little exit out of Tejid Cam then, see what's going on outside. See if that monkey's still running amok. I'm sort of not too worried about the fact that the monkeys escape. In fact, let's catch him. Let's catch him before he... Because they don't... I think you can... These can actually be a... These can be a walk-in exhibit. So guests don't freak out when the monkeys are in there. It's not ideal because the monkey could get in with the crocodiles, I guess. Although I suppose if they are... If the guests can't get in with the crocodiles, then the monkeys won't be able to. So I'm not going to worry too much about the fact that the monkeys can get out. I know why they can get out. They can get out because of the fact that they can just climb through some of the barriers, which is a bit annoying. If you have things that are climbable too close, then the animals can just climb. They glitch through. I'm trying to kind of incentivize the crocs to come all the way around here. This is all part of their habitat. They can access all of this waterway. So yeah, pretty happy with the way that came out, guys. It's getting a bit shady in here. Not as in slim shady, but as in it's getting a bit dark. Just because of the fact, but I think this was kind of always inevitable that with the tree, like I need the tree coverage to make it feel lush and full. But that means, obviously, for video purposes, it gets a bit dark. So yeah, pretty happy with that. All of the park file will be up as usual on the workshop, and anything you see. Well, there's a big collection basically of all the mods, either ones that I've used or that I've created. All of those are on a collection on the workshop as well. And if there's anything that you find or you see in the zoo that isn't in that collection, then let me know in the comments and I'll see if I can get that sorted out for you. Alright guys, well thank you very much for watching as ever. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new. Appreciate everybody that's already done that. And all the new peeps. Channel is doing really amazing at the moment, so yeah, massively appreciate all that. And I will catch you guys same time next week for another one of these, an update to our dome. Alright guys, take it easy, catch you later.